Welcome back, 5 Aces.
Battle control initialized.
Hey people, 5 Aces here. Today, bringing you a highly unconventional matchup in RAGL Masters. It's basically the equivalent of going to your favorite Chinese or Asian restaurant and saying, surprise me. Going to your barber and say, just fuck my shit up. This is a match between two players where you never quite know what you're gonna get. It's, you know, taking a deck of 52 cards and tossing it all over the floor and seeing whether you can divine something sensible from it. So, in the top left, we've got someone who actually is new to Masters Division, but not at all new to RAGL itself. Is the man behind the RAGL, Mr. Tttppp, aka Triple T, aka One Name. And he is squaring off today against Upps, who has opted for a very interesting name change. That being Kiffen bis zum Tod. It's like he has sworn his allegiance, pleaded his allegiance to the green, to the lean green. You know, it's like wheat, ride or die, basically the equivalent. And yeah, this is just a matchup where there's a high chance of off metas happening because Upps is someone who is very prone to shenanigans. Right now, though, it's not looking like it. He's just opened up with a medic. He's picked or random France, I guess. I mean, France has now been buffed now that they do have the phase transport, which is a very useful late game unit. And Upps games have been heard of to go to late game. So maybe we're gonna see a tier 3 game. It would be probably the second or third tier 3 game that I'm casting. You know, it's not the most likely of outcomes, but it's still possible. Tttppp forces here, building a little spearhead and trying to hunt for an engineer. An extremely aggressive play from Kiffen bis zum Tod. My goodness, I'm never gonna be able to call him Upps again. Wow, the medic actually provided him some absolute value here. Ooh, this rifle. Brought back from the brink of death. Thus far, relatively successful medic. Has he set it to guard mode? No, he hasn't. Scouts are swarming out, and the firing squad from Tttppp is waiting over the ridges, just trying to sink its fangs into some. Yeah. You go first. You've got an engineer's degree. You don't have a gun. You're not armed with an M16 carbine rifle or assault rifle, so you're going first. You're not useful for the cause. Rockets are starting to pop up here as well. This is an extremely risky play, I've gotta say. Tttppp, if he knows what he's doing, he's just gonna stay around the oil derrick. Because really, you can't overrun this. Oh, a light tank. No! I spoke too soon because Tttppp does not at all, in fact, have rocket soldiers. He has opted out of going for a sensible build. And is now gonna have his dreams and hopes crushed by the treads of the light tank wind-up toy. Ooh, he gets the engineer, so that's a Pyrrhic victory. And there is gonna be a dead derrick here as well, so Tttppp super far behind. 6% vision, by the way, just putting it out there. 600 credits in army value, 6 rifles. Or is it? No, it is an engineer and 3 rifles. Yeah. You're gonna have a long road ahead of a catch-up. And there is a double light tank build already for Kiffen bis zum Tod. It's like I'm never gonna get over this. I don't really usually have him locked up in my memory as a stoner. But with this nickname. Reminds me, oh my goodness, yeah. Just something to talk about while the tension is ramping up here. I'm gonna have a class trip next week, and good lord, that's gonna be fun. My students are essentially 17 or 18, and one of them decided to be funny and asked me, hey Mr. Head Teacher, are we allowed to smoke? And I was like, no tobacco at all. That is just super prohibited. And then he was like, what about the green stuff, man? And I had to have this discussion in class. Like, thank you. Thank you for a very productive conversation here. Yeah. It is illegal in France, so that kind of settles the question, I would say. Double light tank versus single light tank. There is a lot of rockets. Oh my. Only 2 remaining now. Wow. light tank gets away. There was some good movement here, gotta say. Upps really preserving his tank well. There was a little scout trying to cut into the reinforcements. This is terrible for Tttppp. We are on 2 mediums, 1 light tank, and no infantry at all to complement that. There is also just an expansion out for Upps. He's now going to redeploy. Just get a perfect positioning on his refinery. He is so far ahead. It's not even funny. There is not yet an MCV out. My lord, Tttppp, you're so far behind. He was trying to catch up with the double medium tank, but really this just gives Upps the time, all the time in the world to claim this map. He is the master and commander of 70% of this map for now. It's looking bleak. Here comes the push. Here comes the punchline, my friend. And he's immediately advancing onto the main base. So the problem now is, even if Tttppp goes for the northbound expansion, first off, it's going to get scouted because the rifle scout division is really good for Upps, and secondly, then it's going to be an easy choice for Upps. Where does he want to flank from? Where does he want to attack from? Because we've talked about this in it was one of the past seasons. It's so easy if you take the middle of the map, even if there are no resources, because it's kind of like in chess. If you control the center squares of the board. Oh, he's gonna take a harvester. That would be juicy. Oh, what a steal. This guy can get right back to work. That's fantastic. That is so much value. Well, even if you just control the center of the board, that means you're gonna have flexibility with how you move your army about. And you get to control the spacing of your opponent. That is such a valuable resource. Space control, zone control. And as a result, he's already advancing onto the main base, culling a couple civilians in the process. A little massacre in the morning, you know, just for breakfast. Oh lord, this has been a clean swipe. That has been one of the cleanest 1-0s I've seen thus far this entire season. Yeah, there's just barely an expansion out from Tttppp. That was routing from start to finish. Oof, a bit of a rough one. We're gonna be back in game number 2 in just a second.
Battle control terminated. Battle control initialized.
Alrighty, welcome back to round 2. Sometimes that's just how the tank armor crumbles, because that was a rout and a half. By the way, Storm is approaching outside. So I got a very good time to be inside and cast some OpenRA, even though I also enjoy being outside in the storm. Running in the storm is fantastic. Haven't tried that. So refreshing. But right now, it's a good time to be here. Alrighty. Refinery first for both players. This is a far spawn map and there are no real objectives to contest. Oh, there are some oil derricks. Oh wait, Upps did go for a Rax. And this time around, Tttppp is going for hard macro. Can work on this map. The problem is, some objectives are contestable. How many oil derricks do we have? Is it 4? No, there are none in the corner, so it's just, quote unquote, just 2 derricks and 2 hospitals. So this map is a bit barren, and you're a bit resource starved, I guess. So actually a good call from Tttppp to move out. But if you do this, I would rather go for the southern expansion because it has double ore mines. You can sustain your economy a bit longer off of a barracks rack skip into early MCV rush. So Tttppp going for the war factory now because look, if you build just a mass ore tracks now, you're gonna run out of ore here super fast, and you need to absolutely produce another ore refinery on time. Ooh, this is gonna get scouted almost immediately. Upps with the game sense again. Game number 1, he didn't actually send a rifle scout into the base. Game number 2, however, oh, there's grenadiers. Upps randomed his way into Russia, so he's gonna be randoming his way into a cheese of some sorts. Oh no, there is no defenses. Oh, this is gonna be devastating. Pictures taken seconds from disaster. Oh, that's the only power plant. Not like this. Look at the nades. Look at the damage those do. The DPS from Grenadiers, if they're unchecked, is completely bonkers. Oh, the splits. Okay. So Grenadiers also have the design flaw that they have super low health. Hospital won't do much here. Okay, at least he gets the ore refinery up. But I think he's still on low power. Ah, barely not. Oh, right, because it doesn't have a barracks. He would be if it had a barracks, because that costs 20 power for whatever reason. It's a good thing for game balance purposes, but it's just so funny that someone has to keep the light bulb on. So it racks up an electric bill of 20 power, 20 megawatts, I guess. APC. Oh, we're seeing some sort of cheese that is very much in Upps style. In line with what he's usually trying to do. Here is the production lines. Tttppp going for an early service depot, obviously. He's now trying to claim his derrick as well. I feel he's not in a position to do so, but then again, Upps does not really have any forces out on the field. So maybe Tttppp is banking on the fact that this map is relatively wide. Where's it going? Okay, this is going to get intercepted. Is the APC... Oh, is that a Gren APC? Haven't seen that one in a while. Yeah, it's going to be Hello Darkness, my old friend. Oh, a third power plant just came online, so that's not as bad as it could be. Ah, and the pillbox is denying it anyway. So more of a diversion, I guess. Didn't do much. Could send the light tank after the APC, but it doesn't really change the tide of things, for being honest. One thing you should do is close the gap. If you go into melee range and close the gap, then it's super much harder for the APC to get away. But he did let it escape indeed. Double light tank build now. So maybe a little bit of counter cheese from Tttppp. Interesting game thus far. He's banking 4.5k. Around this stage of the game, that should not be the case. Also, Tttppp is behind on Harvesters somehow. Despite rushing out of War Factory, he somehow ended up with a worse economy. Yeah. You might want to work on that, my friend. 5th Harvester just came online, so parity is reached. At least he's going to have the early MCV, but he is not going to get an asset advantage. Wait. Nope. Tttppp bunged up his timings big time. So I guess the idea was to apply some pressure by building 2 lights and a medium before the MCV. But he's so far behind now. He's on 6 Harvesters, but he's soon going to run out of mineable ore. And the tanks are going to be sacked almost immediately. He needs a good concave. Plus, I don't think he can win this fight at all, because there's just an MCV parking next to it. Yeah, there's probably just going to be a barracks here. And then retreat behind the pillbox lines. Pushing him out a little. No front lines just yet, but the heavy's approaching. Oh, and heavies are nasty here. We all know how much they can do. The tank is just doing his job. Literally doing his job of tanking. And as a result... Wait a sec. He's somehow pushing Upps back. Oh, there's a tile where you can't deploy. Tttppp should have noticed that. Yep, this tile you can't deploy on. Man, Tttppp, you know your OpenRA map making. Maybe you forgot about this tile. It's super annoying because this does not exist. So the tiles are not perfectly mirrored, or the tile sets rather. There are some tiles that are missing the counterparts on the other side of the map. So, for example, this tile, this looks like you can build on it, but this tiny top left speck just prevents deployment for whatever reason. It's just like 5 pebbles. But there is no equivalent to that has a blocked tile on the bottom right. So you can't really make the map symmetrical unless you break the tiles. Just fuck around with the tile editor a little too much. So that's sometimes kind of annoying. Yeah, very compact formation 4th heavy joining the fray. Oh, the tanks that are being sent out are intercepted immediately. Man, not a good day for Trip T. Yeah, Trip T getting a free Trip T back home. And a body bag, apparently, at least his soldiers. Yeah, medics can't out-heal that for too long. 3 medics, what an investment. 4, 5, 6? That's a bit too many healers. Too little DPS, too many healers. Ooh, I'm not sure if I'm liking this. Here's also built a pillbox line defensively. You never want to do that. That is really just deterring engineers. What else is it gonna do? Because you want to concentrate your firepower in one place rather than spacing it out, because that's not really effective. Okay, we're hearing some gunfire. Oh! Whoa! He's managed to sneak his way into the base somehow. I like this tank being sent to the north. Should maybe commit to the war. Yeah, good call. Commit to the war factory and then just stop command and try and trade as much as possible. This is actually his way back into the game. He may have an avenue towards a comeback here. Losing his entire army is very expensive, but there's not going to be any tanks to rebuild for quite some time for Upps. And a second war factory is coming online for Trip T. So, somehow this has worked. However, there is a counter push. And Upps is smart, he's sending one guy in first. Don't mind me, just a little friendly scout. I see that you have basically nothing. The doors are wide open, come on in. Radar Dome is out for Upps almost, 20 seconds. So he has managed to rebuild his war factory as well. And is now gonna kill off some ore trucks. There is no army to speak of from Trip T. Like, his army is about the size of Liechtenstein's army. Always bugs me to pronounce those names. To pronounce European or more precisely German, Germanic names in English, but it's so weird because it's really unnatural. Okay, Trip T's war factory is going down in response. Ore truck's not quite sure what to do about it, just sitting there. So I know that people would, Americans would say like Liechtenstein. Yeah, it's Liechtenstein, but kind of difficult for a native German speaker, for a non-native German speaker. All right, on this side of the map, Trip T has somehow held his oil derrick. Are we going to be seeing another big oil explosion? Sure hope so. Let's light it up like it's Iraq. I guess the Iraq war is too far enough away that we can make jokes about it. I'm not entirely sure yet, but here we go. Bush has been quite a while ago. Radar Dome is actually very nice here. It's a bit compromised, but it does provide some much needed vision. Trip T is gonna again get caught off guard, I think. Yep, tanks are going middle. Somehow his econ is kind of okay. Ooh, I like the double airfield from Upps. With this kind of build, with no anti-air to speak of and with no radar dome, Trip T is extremely vulnerable to Yak bursts. To Yak strafes taking out his power, taking out his refineries, maybe his service depot. Being so scattered across the map that just invites airplay. Oh no. A wave of Soviet Steelers crashing into the base of Trip T. Is that the end already? May well be. Losing another harvester here. Losing his complete main base, including 5 harvesters. Yeah, that one stings a little. And flank number 2 is decimating the rest of the harvesters. Yeah, Trip T, you've bitten off a little more than you could chew here. I'm very sorry for you, my friend. He's going harvester hunting. Retaliatory harvester hunting. I like that. Upps, now is the time for you to shine and go tier 3. Come on, I know you can do it. Upps, it's all up to you. All in your hands. Trip T is getting his forces pushed out of his own base. That's never a good sign, so only one Ortrak surviving the onslaught. He's probably gonna be playing some hide and seek, but playing hide and seek against Yaks is no fun. That's like the enemy having cheat mode enabled. Yaks very much one of my favorite units. Very skill-based and extremely fast. Extremely good line of sight. Definition of glass cannon. Gunpowder-filled balloon. Like one of those secret weather balloons that the US are experiencing apparently. Nothing left. Nothing left here. MCV is breaching the gates. Coming on over for a casual stroll. Oh, MCV tanking a pillbox. I haven't seen that in a while. And the Yaks just primed, ready to go after the MCV. Ouch. There is just one little speck of yellow left on the map. The rest is all purple. The all-encompassing hands of Upps. Tttppp, my friend, you didn't stand a chance. Yes! I predicted it right. We've got ourselves a tier 3 game, technically. It's over now. But it could have been a good tier 3 game. There was tier 3. So, still counts. Alright. That was a game. Very, one-sided, I've gotta say, but also very nice showcase. Miss Honecker. Margot Honecker. Wife of the late Mr. Honecker. Look him up in the history books. Quite the figure. Right. That settles it for today. Thank you for watching. It's been a good one, but we're gonna be back with more Creo and Cobb. Because those two, I wanna see it duke out as well. Okay, we're gonna be back after my class trip, so unless some of my students end up in prison for illegal possession of alcohol, tobacco, drugs and firearms, let's see. Let's hope for the best. I'll see you next time. 5 aces, out.
Battle control terminated.